Clubhouse is wildly underrated because most people don't know about the app yet, and the voice format. I'm very fond of Clubhouse, the app. It replicates real life.
Clubhouse is a new destination for Wall Street and Silicon Valley insiders and so many more.
So talk to us about your vision here. A lot of people are talking about Clubhouse as, the next big media platform. What does that mean to you?
Hey, have you heard of the app called Clubhouse? You might want to get into it because it might help you find that first job. Also, I do want to say, if you are serious about getting a job in tech, I highly recommend you to stay till the end of this video. I'll give you my reasons on why I think Clubhouse can be a valuable asset to you if used correctly, and I'll give you a list of people who I think you should follow if you want to get that first job. So let's get to it. So if you haven't heard of Clubhouse, where have you been? Joking aside, the app is very cool in my opinion, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone loves it. A lot of colleagues of mine and a few other software engineers in the YouTube space aren't huge fans of it and think it's a waste of time. Some have even said that Twitter is already creating a clone called Twitter Space, and it's probably gonna just take over the user base. To a certain extent, I do agree that Clubhouse can be a time guzzler, but realistically, everything can be a waste of time. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and now it's Clubhouse. And for people saying that Twitter Space will take over and make Clubhouse obsolete, we don't really know if that's going to be true or not. You see Instagram making Instagram stories, and yes, they did take some user base from Snapchat, but Snapchat is still thriving, it's publicly traded, and it's kind of near an all-time high still. Also, I realized on Twitter that I follow a lot of software developers, which is good in terms of bouncing off technical ideas and whatnot. But what Clubhouse did for me was that it opened new doors for me to talk to different people in the tech space, like recruiters, product managers, and whatnot. And this is kind of the point of my video. As a pretty active user on Clubhouse who has spent multiple hours on it, I believe I discovered some valuable information that might help you land that first job. Let's pump the brakes here. Before I just keep going on with Clubhouse, what the heck is Clubhouse? And it might be just easier if I read off this script rather than me explaining it myself, so let's do it. Clubhouse is an iPhone-only voice chatting app where individuals can host and join different conversations. Upon creating the app, you are met with a list of rooms that you can join, or you can create your own room. Each room has a different topic, often hosted by an expert or a pioneer in this field. There are no videos, no pictures, and hardly any text. It's all just audio. Think about it as joining in on a live podcast episode. Nothing is saved, so if you are enjoying the conversation, don't leave because you won't be able to play it back. This app got really popular because celebrities were joining and creating rooms. It kind of reminds me of when Twitter first came out and became very popular because regular people like us could have an actual conversation with celebrities. That's great and all, but I don't actually use Clubhouse to talk to celebrities. Don't get me wrong, there are some times where I would join a room and a celebrity would come in and just share his opinion, but I'm not really having a one-on-one conversation with that individual. For me, Clubhouse was all about an opportunity to meet people in the same niche, which is software development, breaking into tech, and specifically meeting people that are in the same space as I am. This is kind of where I found the holy grail of what I was missing in my life in terms of giving good advice to software developers. I don't actually do any kind of recruiting or sourcing of engineers. My day-to-day revolves more along the lines of writing code, interviewing software engineers, and a lot of my advice is revolved around interview prep, what kind of projects you should have, and how you should approach your interviews and whatnot. But like I said, since I'm not on the recruiting side, there was definitely a gap where I was not an expert in. And I'm not saying that I'm an expert now, but I'm obviously educating myself through many different forms of YouTube videos and talking to recruiters themselves. Crazy enough, the longer I've been on Clubhouse, the more rooms I've been in, the more people I follow, I eventually discovered and found a lot of recruiters in the tech space, both working for large companies like Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and even small startups. It's really good for me because I get to hear perspectives from the recruiting side and not just always from the engineering side. This is super helpful because number one, it educates me, and number two, I want to give you good advice that's validated by recruiters in this space. A lot of software developers, myself included, fall trapped to giving the same type of advice, and in some ways, are we really sure this is what recruiters are looking for? Clubhouse, and specifically recruiters on Clubhouse, has given me so much information that I really didn't even know. I hear recruiters tell me that they get so busy, so many messages, that sometimes it's just good to be direct and straightforward, like, hey, my name is Alex. I recently talked to you on Clubhouse and I'm looking for a role that is posted on your job. Specifically, a front-end role with the job ID of number. This is my resume and my portfolio. I would love to discuss with you if you feel that we would be a good fit. Thank you for your time and hope to talk to you soon. Best, Alex. Something simple like that for a recruiter working at a large company is completely fine because they're just getting bombarded with messages left and right. I've learned a lot of information from recruiters, and I'll say that again. There are specific types of rooms that these recruiters are creating that I believe will be super beneficial for you. The first is a recruiter spotlight room. It's one of those rooms where recruiters come in and more or less just state what jobs are available at the company they're working at. We all know that applying to jobs is super hard, especially if you're just kind of going through that job portal website. There's no guarantee that your job will even get filtered past the algorithm. So why not take advantage of the fact that you can talk to a recruiter directly and just kind of more or less skip that line? A lot of jobs these days are just happening through referrals, and if you're able to establish that one-on-one connection with a recruiter on Clubhouse, that's just a big win in my opinion. Especially if you feel like you meet that job description, just contact them. Use the template that I use to contact a recruiter, let them know that you met them on Clubhouse, and just reference the job ID. I highly recommend to do this because if you haven't done it and you're not able to find a job, why not try something different? The second room that a lot of these recruiters open up is a LinkedIn profile review. What the recruiters usually do is bring someone to the audience, a candidate, to just generally review their profile. The amount of intricacy and attention to detail these recruiters put on these reviews is so amazing in my opinion. I'm pleasantly surprised by how thorough they look at these LinkedIn profiles. They're not just saying, hey, great profile, next. Hey, great profile, next. These recruiters are actually giving real feedback about what parts are missing, what areas of your profile you should highlight. Maybe you should add that open to hire. All of these little things that you don't really notice about on your own profile, recruiters definitely notice. So getting that information directly from recruiters is super invaluable. Sometimes I just feel like this is paid coaching, but they're just doing it for free. And if you are able to get chosen for the audience and have your LinkedIn profile reviewed, I think that's just an amazing opportunity. Even if you aren't able to get your profile reviewed, listen in, see how they're evaluating and analyzing other people's LinkedIn profiles so you could best optimize yours. The last one may not be as tangible, but yes, there are software developers in Clubhouse. I do have to admit that I don't always necessarily vibe with all of them. A lot of people have very strong opinions about algorithms and why algorithms are important. And some people really believe in the project aspect, but that's kind of the beauty of Clubhouse where people can interact and have differing opinions. Some people have only worked at FANG companies, some people have only worked at startups. So that's kind of why these conversations do brew up. And it's something that I really like to be part of because I realized before Clubhouse, a lot of the people that I associated were kind of people that were growing up in the non-traditional background in terms of their software development journey. So it's good to get that balance and kind of gut check to realize that, hey, computer science graduates may think a little bit differently than someone that's coming out of a boot camp. And how do we mesh that so we can be more further aligned to ultimately, number one, trying to land that job in tech. I do want to emphasize that being a software developer for over 6 years now, prior to Clubhouse, my only form of interaction with recruiters was through LinkedIn or email. And even then, it's never been about what the recruiter is thinking. It's more along the lines of, hey, are you interested in this job? Obviously, in that scenario, that's the most important question. But being able to understand how recruiters think, why do they approach certain candidates over another? What about their profile is standing out that makes you want to go out and contact them? This is very invaluable information that a lot of developers don't really know. And especially developers on YouTube that are giving advice to aspiring developers, we have to also have a responsibility to know that we aren't junior developers anymore. So trying to give advice coming from an experienced folk is not always going to be the best advice. We have to understand what recruiters look for when they're looking at junior candidates versus what recruiters look for when they look for experienced developers. Every level is a bit different, and to me, talking to recruiters on how they look for and hire junior candidates has been super eye-opening to say the least. And I want to emphasize again, not all software engineers, and especially experienced software engineers, know how to get a job for all specific levels. Because if you are experienced, you're just at a huge advantage. If you have no experience, then you really do have to work your way up, and you have to find many different ways to kind of more or less have your profile stand out. I can give you the whole generic advice of you got to work hard, learn this language, and build this project. But at the end of the day, if I haven't given you any tangible advice on how to approach recruiters, how to apply to jobs, how to get in through direct messaging and referrals, then what keywords do you need to use, then I wouldn't be very helpful in any of my videos. Not all software engineers know how to get a job at this point. So if you are experienced, then you are at a huge advantage, and that's something that we as even experienced YouTubers and YouTube developers need to acknowledge. I'm not going to say joining Clubhouse will guarantee that you'll get a job, but I have been in some rooms where people have actually came and told their success stories because of these recruiter rooms. They were able to land an internship, they were able to land a junior position, they were able to transition from a consulting to a product manager position. So the stories are there. I don't know the exact percentages or whatnot, but I feel that since the community is still relatively small, you have an opportunity to talk to these recruiters directly one-on-one if you want to. Speaking from my own experience, it's just been so valuable to find these recruiters and extract the information that they're sharing. And for those of you that are still here, I want you to follow these people when you get your Clubhouse app. This is not a comprehensive list by any means, but following them will open you up to rooms that they host and they join. And a lot of times other recruiters will join those rooms that you can also follow as well. So definitely follow these people, because in my eyes, following them can only help your job search. All right, developers, that's all I got. Hopefully it was not just helpful, but also very tangible on what you need to do. Just download the Clubhouse app. Yes, there is like an invite aspect to it, but I'm sure if you can just reach out to someone that does already have the app, ask them for an invite. The invites have definitely opened up, so hopefully that won't be a problem. I know it's also an iPhone only app at the moment, but from what I've been told, the Android app is about to come out soon as well. And for those of you that are looking or even just starting off your coding journey, I say keep building, developers. Your time will come. Tech Rally out.